Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. Either way, Neskowin, Oregon is a place that really flies under the radar. And in this video, we're gonna talk about what it's like living in Neskowin, and all that starts now. What's up, everybody? This is Clem with the Home Team Brokers, coming to you from Neskowin, Oregon today. And if this is your first time to the channel, living on the Oregon coast, and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. We've helped so many people relocate to the Oregon coast, from Astoria all the way down to Brookings. And as real estate professionals, we love to help with that process. So if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video and schedule a Zoom call with us. Either way, we would love to help with your move to the Oregon coast. Okay, so a lot of people moving out to the Oregon coast really have a range of what they're looking for. A lot of folks that we've worked with are coming from more densely populated areas, more urban settings, large metro areas, for example. So whether you move to a town with a couple hundred people or several thousand, 10,000, 20,000 people, there's still going to be a little bit of a shock. But, there's definitely a range of small town, right? When you look at a place that does have 5, 6, 7, 10,000 people, and infrastructure, medical, a ton of stores, shopping, restaurants, things like that, versus a town that has little to none of that. And we try to tell people as much as we can, hey, look, there is going to be a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a shock potentially, because these are up and down the Oregon coast, really small towns by and large, but people have different interpretations of that, and a lot of people think, hey, this is like a one stoplight kind of town sort of thing. And so when we're looking at Neskowin, you do have Lincoln City just to the south, which is a pretty big area, and it doesn't feel like the smallest town in the world. But you get up to Neskowin and, there's no stoplights, for example. So Neskowin is just on the southernmost tip of Tillamook County. And so it's on the southernmost tip of the northern region, or that northern third of the Oregon coast. So you're right at the start, or kind of the gateway to the central Oregon coast, coming from the north in Neskowin. And so that border, that county border, coming from Tillamook County to the north, you get right into Lincoln County and right into Lincoln City. So Neskowin in a lot of ways does feel like a neighborhood or an extension of Lincoln City in some ways, but you also have Pacific City to the north, which is really kind of a similar town as far as the geology. You have the mountain range really kind of set right behind you to the east. You have a lot of creeks coming in, of course, and you have the Nestucca River coming into the Nestucca Bay, which is north of Neskowin, right around closer to Pacific City. And then south of Neskowin, you have the Cascade Head. So if you're driving from Neskowin south to Lincoln City, you're going to get it up and over some elevation. It's a really pretty drive. So Neskowin is a town that you would put into this category of smaller villages up and down the Oregon coast. And if you're looking at areas kind of on the northern region of the Oregon coast that are similar, you're looking at like Netarts, Oceanside, even Arch Cape. And Arch Cape is probably the closest comparison. Arch Cape maybe has a little more luxury, but these are both areas that tend to skew towards some of the more expensive areas on the Oregon coast. And Neskowin just has a couple hundred people that live there, but there's over 400 homes or 400 housing units in Neskowin. So that statistic in and of itself does kind of show you that this is an area that has a lot of second homes, has a lot of vacation homes. This is definitely kind of a resort style community, resort style living. You know, there's areas like this, again, like Arch Cape, even Gearhart to a larger degree, where you drive around and a lot of what you're getting is just beach houses, like your very quintessential, typical beach houses. And in Neskowin, you really have this main area, probably about 6 to 8 blocks. Most of these homes in this area that are near the beach, you can walk to the beach, they're really pretty modest for the most part. You know, you have a lot of little cottages and bungalows. You do have some larger homes. And then you have the Inn at Proposal Rock, which is really where kind of that little Neskowin village is. You have a big condo. They call it a condo-tel. So these are individually owned condos, but they're meant to be rented out as nightly rentals. Next to that, just on that south tip of town, you also have one restaurant. There is I think it's the Vintage Scoop or the Village Scoop. It's like this tiny little bus that they've converted to a little ice cream shop. It has some outdoor seating. And then you have the Neskowin Trading Company right there, which is kind of a general store. So really that's all of what you're getting on the commercial side there in Neskowin. So not a ton of options there, obviously. There's not, again, this infrastructure that supports a local economy with, you know, jobs and things like that. But again, if you're looking to be in an area that is much smaller, more quiet, more laid back, you're going to get that in Neskowin as much as anywhere else on the Oregon coast. And I think you really do get the best of both worlds here, because you do have Lincoln City to the south, one of the largest towns on the Oregon coast, and Pacific City to the north, which I think has about 1,000, maybe 1,500 people there. And there's restaurants. Of course, you have Pelican Brewing there. You have Cape Kiwanda. So this whole area overall, if you look at, you know, maybe a kind of 30-mile stretch, 20-mile stretch even, you know, in this corridor between Pacific City and Lincoln City, there is a lot to offer. And everything you would need as far as day-to-day living is right there. And that's not to discount, you know, the restaurant that you have there and the Neskowin Trading Company, the general store, which is really cool. They have quite a bit of options in there, but it's not really going to be a grocery store, and the prices there are going to be incredibly inflated because, you know, they're really catering to people who are staying there on vacation. So if you were to live in Neskowin full time, or even for part of the year, you're going to find yourself going down into Lincoln City to do a lot of your day-to-day shopping. But that Neskowin Trading Company, I mean, they have a bakery, they have a deli, they even have barbecue, which is really cool. So everything that I've had from there has been great. But if you were going there day to day, I mean, that's really going to start to add up. And this is an area like many on the Oregon coast. It's going to be a little more lively, have a little more energy to it in the summer months and in the warmer months. There's going to be more people out and about walking around. And, you know, there is a farmer's market every weekend, for example. There's a 9-hole golf course. Again, this is really kind of a resort style living, you know, vacation town first. And so some people like that, some people may not, you know, so it is a little more transient. I think, you know, the biggest concern that we hear from people, you know, in terms of communities like this, is they're worried about people coming in and out, especially for those weekend rentals and things like that. People who might be throwing a party or parking on the street, you know, they might be too loud, they might be leaving trash behind. You know, these are concerns up and down the Oregon coast, from the smallest little villages like Neskowin to even the larger towns. And that's why you do see a lot of towns, you know, starting more and more to put regulations and really kind of cracking down on some of the short-term rental stuff. But Neskowin is an area where you're going to be able to pretty much, you know, rent out your property. It's, again, kind of catered to this community in a lot of ways. So if you were living in Neskowin, again, even for part of the year, you are going to see a lot of people coming in and out. And, you know, there are potentially concerns that come with that. But beyond what we've talked about, this being really kind of a resort style community, being a very quintessential little beach village, beach town with these beach cottages and beach homes. Regardless, this is a beautiful area. So you have about 3 miles of beaches. You have Proposal Rock, which has, it's this rock formation, just set out from the beach that has this big forest on it. You also have the ghost forest, which you can see more in the winter. So when the tide goes out in the winter, you can see, these big stumps of Sitka spruce trees. A lot of people come out and photograph that. And, the beaches, the beach access from town, and just the configuration of everything, as far as geologically how it's made up, it makes for a very unique and very beautiful landscape. In areas like even Lincoln City, for example, you really just kind of have a really long stretch, miles and miles of beaches, which in and of itself is incredible. It's beautiful, but there's a little more character to the beaches in Neskowin. You have the creek coming out from this little village area where the Inlet Proposal Rock is. And from this area, you have a really, really wide beach. So, from town going out to, the furthest point, where you have low tide, kind of right at the ocean, you have a ton of space to get out and walk around. There's some good beach combing in this area, for example. And again, it's just aesthetically very unique compared to other areas up and down the Oregon coast. So you're going to find some really beautiful homes in Neskowin. You're going to find homes that maybe check a lot of boxes for you. And I think looking at Neskowin on a map, it might be kind of hard to tell, what the makeup of the town is and what it's going to be like living there. I think, the biggest thing is that, again, you have a lot of people coming in and out for vacation. It's an incredibly small town. It's really not even a town. Again, it's just a little unincorporated village. And so there are pros with that. Again, being more peaceful, more quiet, more laid back. You really get everything you would want in kind of living at the beach. But on the other side of that, you might want an area that just has more to offer, more infrastructure. But again, you're going to get that in Lincoln City just to the south, and even Pacific City to some degree to the north. I would say Pacific City and Neskowin are probably a little bit more similar in being kind of those transient, areas with a lot of vacation rental, a lot of people coming in, on vacation, coming in and out, things like that. And Lincoln City has a much higher percentage of full-time residents in the area. But the beauty of this area cannot be understated. Again, you have most of the real estate, most of the homes right there with beach access, so you can walk to the beach, you can get a lot of ocean views. There is at least one stretch, one road that is set right on the beach, so you have some beachfront living. But there's also in Neskowin, up above the highway, with some elevation, you do have a lot of more kind of luxury style living with big sweeping views of the ocean. You get that a little bit on the south of town as well. And there are some beachfront homes on the south of town too. So there is some beachfront. There is really kind of a range of what you can get as far as real estate, but the price per square foot is going to be a lot higher here. You're looking at a median sale price right now of $872,000. So even for kind of the smallest little cottage, 2-bedroom, maybe 3-bedroom, maybe around 1,000 square feet, you're going to be looking at least $500,000 for a property like that. So this definitely is an area where you have to spend a little bit more, but I think it all really comes down to supply and demand. This is an area where you get a lifestyle and a type of living that a lot of people really kind of envision when they're thinking about moving to the Oregon coast. And so because there's only 400 homes there, give or take, you do have a lot of second homes, so you're competing with that market as well as the investor market on the vacation rental side. That does prop up prices a little bit. And of course, just the beauty of Neskowin itself, definitely draws a lot of demand. But if Neskowin is an area that looks interesting to you, if this is an area that you want to learn more about, or if you want to learn more about areas that are similar, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or click the link down below in the description of the video. We can talk about your timeline, your home search, and get you set up for success. And if this video is helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. If you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, we really appreciate you watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.